Hello there. Welcome to Matrosix. It's the capital of Delaire. But more importantly for our story, it's a dangerous place. Each of the king's successors in the last 14 years have died trying to sit on that blasted adamantine throne. It's not just dangerous for the high lords and ladies, though. Without a strong leader, the presence of the city's watch is barely felt and rarely respected. A few areas have found some semblance of stability under a powerful high lord or lady. But there's nothing like that for the Styx. Matrosix, 6th District.
Welcome back to Toss the Dice. When we left off, Aurelius was, sharing his secrets about, his past with the Thieves Guild in hopes of making an ally. It may have worked, or he may have made himself seem crazy. To be clear, just so there's no confusion here, none of them denied your claim.
Yeah.
But none of them are wholly confident, even though you can say something of Braz. You haven't said anything that definitively would make you his son, right? Like, his son was spirited away in the night and raised as an orphan. He wouldn't know the tea time jokes, so they have no clue how you got this information.
Yeah,
they think it's intriguing. So while they haven't called you a liar, none of them are fully committed to your claim either.
They're not calling you a truther either.
Yeah, exactly. They don't have any way of actually verifying me, right? They can verify that I know a lot about Braz, but
D&D DNA tests. So.
Exactly. And I was going to ask you, do I have a physical relic or not?
That is a great question. I don't remember if we established that or not. I will say that DNA tests are rare, but they exist in this world.
Oh my god, interesting.
So it's not something that you could just like, oh, I'd like one. But with enough resources, you could get your hands on it. So it is verifiable.
They have DNA from Braz, though. Didn't he get like exploded?
You are not.
They have his bones.
Whoa!
Yeah, no, they have his bones. They could test him against the bones.
The Bone Daddy.
Oh. That's my granddad, Piper. Holy gosh.
The Bone Granddaddy.
Oh boy.
Daddy. Hey, Peepaw. Let's get your bones.
Either way, they have agreed to take the job. And so they will be helping the four of you to pull this heist off on the Red Gears, in which you will steal 20 vehicles. An impressive feat, as that will be their entire fleet. The only thing is that, along with hiring the Thieves Guild, Bastion Black has offered to work pro bono. The only thing that he wanted before any of the thieves take such a big job is he wants to make sure it's safe. Usually the Thieves Guild doesn't necessarily work in tandem with a group. You guys are talking about being there, and so he wants to make sure that because his boys aren't planning it, because he's not planning it, he wants to see everything to make sure that it's safe. Because the Red Gears don't mess around, and he's not willing to get thieves shot.
Why don't we plan it like collaboratively, like with them as like alongside them, like kind of like their know-how and their assets combined with what we know and what we can offer to make a a more rounded. Why is it that we need to get all these?
That's fine too. Bastion Black actually did say that if you guys hadn't planned it yet, then he wants to be a part of the planning meeting. So.
Okay. Well,
I think that'd be better.
I agree. I think we're ready to do the planning. I want to stress for myself, I'm hoping out of this, right, we can get the vehicles, right? Get Piper's public transportation system going. But the second objective that I haven't revealed yet, that I'm hoping to here, is to destroy their garage or destroy their manufacturing means for these vehicles. I want to keep them off the streets as long as possible. So there is a secondary objective to this.
Okay.
All right.
Explosives are expensive.
Yeah, but
Just
fire
light it on
isn't,
fire.
right?
Fire isn't. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, you could just find some flammable stuff and light it up. It's probably just a wooden garage.
Shall we make this a part of the planning meeting then, and jump right in?
Yeah, let's go.
Bastion says, "Well, I like that idea, but a lot of the houses, especially in that portion of the sticks, are made of wood. This fire could spread halfway across town."
Yeah, we don't want a massive catastrophe on our hands. That doesn't exactly make us the good guys here.
The
Right.
thing is, we could do a controlled burn, but not if the Red Gears attack us. So we won't be there to fight the fire if it gets out of hand. And so that's my only concern with that kind of messy attack.
Could we possibly structural integrity of the building? Is there a
What
way that we could perhaps cause it to cement and fall in on itself?
Actually,
Assuming it's pretty decrepit, right? The rest of the buildings.
it would be mostly made of well, it's mostly made of scrap parts. So there's actually a fair amount of it that might be made of metal. Some of it may be made of wood as well. So, Bastion
Well-
does say it's a pretty sturdy structure. The red gears, what they make seems pretty ad hoc, but it tends to be sturdy and functions well despite its crude design and lack of quality in some regards. Well, they don't have power cores. The mechanical element of it is usually quite strong. I wouldn't count on their garage being flimsy. That's for sure.
Haven, can't you do something with metal?
I can. I was actually thinking about that, but
Did you take all
If
the
it's-
nails out of the?
it might be. I was actually thinking about how to bring the whole building down. I think I think it'd be fun, but I need to know more, I guess, about what I can actually bring down.
What do you mean you can bring it down?
Let's see. Well,
God.
oh, wait, what did you say, Piper?
Don't you still have that shard?
No, not anymore. I'll need more metal, but I think I can gather plenty over at the scrapyard. But in essence, Bastion, I work for the Crankhammers, so I have a pretty good way of dealing with metal.
You work for the Crankhammers?
I do.
John, why didn't you tell me?
I didn't tell John, so that's that will be on me.
This could be potentially catastrophic.
I see. Well,
Do you? Is there a problem?
well, not if I kill you.
Oh,
Oh, great.
The
Listen,
thing-
It helps. He's trying to
he's
get out.
he's not. Yeah, he's
He
not.
doesn't want to be there. He only works there because that's literally the only way he can get food on the table. He makes
Do you
barely
see-
enough to survive every week.
Bastion, he's not.
I
loyal.
can assure you that I'm only there to make ends meet.
Okay.
Heck, I even let one of your thieves get away with a couple of things. I'm sure you can let me get away with this one.
Wait a second. I think I've heard of you. Was it
And
Haven? Haven Hawks?
yeah,
Ah, yes, okay. So you're the one who turned us down. Well, I guess all's well that ends well. Okay. I do trust you guys. I don't know why. But, if any of this gets back to Ray, I will kill you. Like, let's just, I'm not to be rude, like, guys, I really don't mean to be. I just wanted to make sure that's on the table, yeah.
It's business. It's business. So I
Exactly,
understand,
yeah.
but-
Like, in my line of work, when information slips, you can't let it go easily, so...
Right. And
Crucial.
believe me, I assure you that there's nothing to worry about. It'll be fine.
Okay. Well,
You did say you wanted to clean up the streets, right?
that's right, but one of the worsts is, well, the crank hammers.
Oh, don't I know it? However, and he actually pats Haven on the back and is like, he's going to be integral to us making that happen, bringing down the crank hammers.
Okay, well, I'm curious what you mean. I get that you work for them. So what, you good with tools? That's not going to bring a building down in a matter of seconds.
Let's see. I actually take a couple of my daggers, just pull them out, and what I do is I just kind of focus and close my eyes, and then I just like, he can see the metal just like instantly crunch and kind of turn, and I can like, I want to see if I can mold and shape into like different various kinds of things, kind of like how Toth like does like weird stuff with like the space rock. That's kind of like how I try to do it.
The reference is on point.
So he shakes his head. He doesn't seem, he seems a little surprised, but more importantly, he is like, I see, you're a sorcerer. Well,
I am.
there aren't many who are born with your talents. You know, there would be some who say that makes you of a noble lineage.
Would it? I'm
Not
flattered.
another one.
But believe me, I wish I could be living a better life right now. Here I am.
Well, that's the goal. That's why you're here.
I will remind you real quick though that the only thing that you can currently form out of metal is iron walls or sorcery points. So other than absorbing them into shards, you can't actually manipulate metal in any way unless if you're touching it. So you can absorb it into your shards, or you can make a wall out of it. So
But what about absorbing, say, a load-bearing pillar?
totally in the cards. It will require, let me see. So that would be feasible under the load bearing rule
No,
of the arcane crucible.
it said it would take me about 10 minutes on a failed save, but if I roll successfully, then I can just rip it, right?
Correct, yeah. So
Okay. I
it'd
wanted to
be
make sure.
it would be quite a difficult check though, because you're talking about a load bearing pillar in a structure. It would definitely be 80 pounds that it's holding up, so that's minus 10 to your check. So yeah, the
Wait, why does it have to be a load bearing?
because he's trying to bring down the structure. So if it's not load bearing, then there's no point in tearing it down.
Oh, we're talking about for the garage, right?
Yeah, we're
Right,
talking about
exactly.
using Arcane Crucible to bring the garage down.
I mean, alternatively, for now, we could table that as our secondary objective and focus on our primary.
Actually, I wanted to inquire about are there nails that are actually like pinning these pillars? Like,
There would be
It-
screws, nuts, and bolts and things.
okay. So
So-
I'm wondering, with that in mind, can I just absorb those and then somehow, some way, push this structure down? Because if not stable, then
It would still fall under the load bearing rule. So
Okay.
the screws are bearing the load, even though the pillar is also bearing the load.
okay,
So,
I see. Okay.
but like I said, worst case scenario, it takes you 10 minutes. That would be a whole
Alright.
lot better than what it would take to actually like dismantle a garage with tools. So I mean, it's still going to be way better.
Yeah, you just have to get started on that as they're getting the vehicles out.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think.
Bastion, do you tell Bastion where the safe house is? Like, I suppose you kind of would have to tell everyone you're hiring where they're driving the vehicles, unless if you think you want to just take it to a drop off point and then cart the vehicles one at a time to your safe house.
No, if we've already disclosed our identities here, like our safe house is at least, and this is how I view it. You guys might disagree, but like we've already identified basically everything about ourselves. So if the thieves really wanted to screw with us, there'd be plenty of ways to do so.
Well, you're not just hiring thieves; you're hiring thugs to peddle.
Crap, you're right.
So there's going to be 20. No, there's going to be 40 other people there
Now,
who
the
are not of
thugs
the
I don't
thieves guild.
trust.
Yeah,
But
agreed.
is it just Bastion in this room, this meeting room? So then
Quintus is still there.
okay.
He seems like he wants to take the job. He insisted. In fact, he had a job that was going to conflict, and he traded shifts with someone else to make sure that he's on this job. But it seems like he's more interested in Aurelius than he is the actual.
job itself.
Objective.
Yes.
hmm
Well,
Okay.
Good. As far as the drop off point, we could do it like pretty close to the safe house. Have the non guild people dip. Then we'll just use the manpower that we have to wheel in the amount that we can at a time. The safe house from there.
Unless, do the Thieves Guild actually have a place where they could, say, store said items and actually pretend like? So our cover story here was that Piper, not as a Spectre, but as Piper, is starting a transportation business, right?
Right.
And the story being peddled here is that she bought it off of fences off the Thieves Guild.
That's true. They don't have facilities to store vehicles. At best, they could keep them in like the courtyard, but they would definitely get a lot of attacks by the Red Gears if it was stored at their place. So, as you propose this, Bastion says, "I'm sorry, no, we can't really go for that. Plus it would be very expensive to hire us to protect these full time. No, it's our policy that we deliver the things we steal."
Okay, so secondary plan is we have them do a drop-off point that is close, just like Piper said. However, at this drop-off point, that is where we actually lose our thugs, and we actually continue the thieves on our retainer and use them 4 at a time to get these trucks to our safe house, so that only the thieves will know the location.
That's
I
doable.
agree.
We can definitely arrange that.
We should
Perfect.
also have a backup plan in case the Red Gears are too close behind us and we can't manage to drop off the things at the safe house in time.
Well,
And
What
have-
about
that's where Haven comes in. If Haven can
Oh.
collapse the structure, then hopefully that's going to be their much bigger concern. Essentially,
or you
Right.
build a wall?
My walls aren't that big, but
They're only 5 feet tall.
Yeah, but could that not stop a
It
vehicle?
could still slow them down.
It very well could. I
Wait, what
guess
are we talking about using it for?
I'm asking if his walls could potentially stop a vehicle. Say if placed right in front of a vehicle.
I actually was thinking about that. I think the answer is no. I think the way I want to play the vehicle rules for this, because D&D doesn't have many rules regarding vehicles. Even in their rule sets for vehicles, it doesn't elaborate that much. So what I'm thinking is, if it runs into an object and it's able to deal enough damage to destroy said object, then it continues.
Right.
Okay. Fair enough.
Oh,
Yeah, my walls
Um,
are quite weak.
So it would damage the vehicle, but it wouldn't stop it.
What about the
I was
oil
gonna
that
say. Oh, go ahead.
well, sorry. Go, you guys go.
So could my vehicle tow those vehicles? Or just one at a time?
Why are we are you talking about just for
Backup plan.
Yeah, like once the
Backup plan if
smugglers
the red
leave,
gears
wouldn't it
are
be
on our
faster
tail.
if I could just you don't have as many people to pedal all of them. So we have pedal some of them, and then the rest I could tow with my vehicle. Split the difference.
that could potentially work, but I mean we're talking a matter of saving like 20 minutes or so. Like it's not that big a deal to just have the thieves take them one at a time after that. Because I mean, well,
Right.
they would be taking them 3 at a time, so it would only take them a little bit of time. So I mean,
I was gonna
you could.
say, what about as we have the thugs ditch the vehicles, they just double back towards the red gears place to make sure that our back end is covered.
That's actually great.
Not to mention, there's literally guns mounted on them. They could also just
Well,
hop
if
on
I
the
could-
tail vehicles.
If I could point out, you're planning on stealing all of their vehicles,
They'll
so
be
Yeah.
they won't be
I'm
able to
talking about
pursue you.
on-foot I'm talking about on-foot pursuers.
Which
Oh,
we
if
should blow past, but
yeah, they should be so far behind that it will not matter. If you can get to that point, the struggles come before that point. If you can get the
Right,
vehicles away,
right.
they won't be able to catch you anymore. You'll be way
Right.
too
Okay.
fast.
I
Again.
actually was thinking about the plan B for when things go haywire before we get everything accounted for. So honestly, yeah, I thought about that. Would our contingency be that we destroy a good amount of the vehicles if we aren't able to attain all of them?
I think so.
Well, Bastion
Yeah.
says the trouble is these vehicles aren't guarded, but they will all be together if we play our cards right. They wouldn't do us any good to pull this heist when they have a vehicle deployed. So we wait till they're all together, and then we shouldn't really lose any vehicles as long as we can get to the point where we can take them. Because the only way we lose a vehicle is if someone fell behind. And I'm not
Right.
willing to lose any thieves on this. If someone falls behind, we go back for them. So,
Fair enough.
I agree with Bastion. I think Silas, you and I
Silas,
or sorry,
Sorry.
dang it.
Not
My bad.
Silas. That's the
Uh-huh.
old character.
Dang, my bad, everybody. Haven, you and I will be on that last vehicle. We're going to make sure that we can actually collapse that structure, and we'll be on the last vehicle out. I agree with you, Bastion, that I don't want to put any of your thieves in harm's way. So, besides the driver, I think Haven and I should be the last ones out. And I think Electra, because you are so good with your logistics, I think maybe having you head with them out on at least some of the first vehicles, that would be great.
All right. I mean, if I'm
I'm-
the last one, then I definitely want dibs on some parts or something. I at least want a good share of something. If I'm doing this, if I'm doing something this risky, then I'd like some souvenirs at least.
don't most of the the vehicles have guns strapped to the top?
Not all of them have the same setup as the one you ran into, but many of them would be armed. Yeah, almost all of them. Some of
Make
them
sure
might be
you-
more heavily armed than the one you drove.
I would plan on having Haven and Aurelius take an armed one for the last one, so even if they get behind, they can protect themselves and buy themselves some time to get ahead.
Now, that's all well and good. I think our exit plan is going to be the easy part. We have getaway vehicles baked into the plan. That's one of the reasons why when I heard you propose it, I thought this could work. But the difficulty will be that this garage won't be unguarded. They're not fools. In fact, the heavy brass have tried this before. They all died. Now, that said, we're good at what we do. The tricky part will be if you can pull off what you do. I think for this to work, someone's gonna have to distract Ptolemy.
I agree.
I'm willing.
Now, if you can engage, I think this is what's going I think this is what's going to make it work. If you can engage Ptolemy and the guards in combat long enough for all of my thieves to get in place, and then you can somehow disengage and get to the vehicle, that'll work well. Maybe we can escort Haven to wreck the garage if that's what you're going to do. If you need that time, then maybe you can't participate in the fight. On the other hand, I think taking the vehicles will cripple them enough. It will take them months before they have their next vehicle up and running. So, with that in mind, I think if you can engage them and disengage and take that final vehicle, we can use some of the other vehicles to provide some cover fire. We can potentially make some mayhem so that you can take the final vehicle and we can get going. But that
Okay.
distraction is key.
Piper, is your vehicle armed? I think that could be the distraction. And it should allow us the ability to engage and disengage in a relatively quick manner.
I will say, are you planning on piloting separate vehicles then? I assumed you three would hop on the same vehicle, but I never considered the fact that you might break off and have thugs power your own private vehicles, because you could potentially do that.
What do you guys think?
Because
Well-
it kind of sounds like you're trying to split up. I'm sorry, Elise. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I also have a whirler, so if you want that as a distraction, I have one of those.
All right. I also
mean-
have.
Ah,
I'm just
some
big, mean,
whirlers.
and metal, and I can get in there and wreck some shop if needed, and I can get away pretty fast as well. I mean, whatever we want to do, I personally think that bringing an additional vehicle in that we have to get back out, and then having one less potential driver or power to us for one of these, I think that's not maybe our best plan. Personally, I do like the ability to be able to get in and out quickly, but
I will say that my guys are good. We can get in quiet. However, the thing is that the opening the garage is going to be the noisy point. There's no way we can do that without attracting a large crowd. So drawing them away is going to be key, which means that your part in this plan is going to have to be some kind of major distraction. Now, I thought maybe a fight with Ptolemy would do the trick. You could
that's
lay
what
some.
I'm thinking.
You could
What
lay some
about-
whirlers for your escape path, but if you've got another idea, I'm all ears.
I do, actually. Oh, this is
Of course
great.
you do.
Yeah. What about setting up a meeting with Ptolemy under false pretenses?
Bastion says,
Ooh,
that's despicable. I'm listening. Continue.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, I actually happen to have a disguise kit, and I also have an information broker. What if somebody who Ptolemy would want to meet with is actually planning a meeting and asks him to be there?
Okay, but what if there isn't anybody who's planning on trying to meet with him for the next like 4 months or something?
I'll find somebody he wants to meet with. It could be anyone. It could be a loved one. It could be a business partner. Anybody.
A loved one? You're stooping low.
I want my city clean.
Listen, I'm with you.
It could
You would
be
impersonate his own mother just to stab him in the
mean,
back?
You should.
Bastion gets a sour look on his face. And he says, well, I can think of someone.
Oh,
Right,
Oh,
tell.
yeah, who
that
is that?
sounds like it's supposed to be you.
How brave are you, Aurelius?
Oh,
He
he can be
actually
brave enough so long as he's got his bodyguard.
he leans in and says, "Brave enough to do the job. What are you thinking?"
Is it his high school sweetheart?
Oh,
Are you familiar with Devere?
Oh my
Devere.
gosh, am I?
You might be. You might be. You've lived in the sticks a long time. He's referring to Devere Black, the leader of the black market.
Oh,
Oh.
snap.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Okay, this is
This is getting high stakes. Yep.
The thing is, I know she would for sure want to meet with Devere. I could even help you make the disguise. I know his face quite well. But
Have they met before?
how's who? What?
Have they met
has he
before?
met Devere before?
Yeah.
Oh, he seems to be implying that he hasn't just met him, but that he knows him well.
No,
the leader of
He's
the Red
talking
Gears.
about. He's talking
Oh,
about
the leader of the
our
Red Gears.
target.
Yeah, our target. Have they met this
Oh yeah.
Okay.
She's seen his face. Ptolemy doesn't know him well, but she
perfect.
certainly knows him. And that's no small feat. There are very few who know his face. So, in this regard, I can help you out.
All right,
However,
so I'm going to
This
impersonate
may
him.
draw the attention of Devere, and that's not a good thing. So, that would definitely fulfill your needs, but I would be careful if you take this course of action.
Are we ready to take on two factions at once, Aurelius?
I will say that what he's suggesting is not like a death sentence.
It
Like,
just brings attention.
it definitely would bring
Yeah.
attention, and not on you guys. Remember that you will be doing this under disguise. So even if Devere is furious, he might not know who you guys are. So, but it would raise the stakes if you guys have your identities discovered, because that could potentially sick Devere on you personally. So even then, we're not talking public enemy number one. We're just talking like a little bit of heat, you know?
I
And so,
think
would
it's
he
worth
be the
it.
James Jonah Jameson to our Spider-Man, though?
well, the thing is that the black market is quite powerful. Like, it's debatable whether the Lords or the black market has more power. So, it is something to consider. But it's by no means a death sentence. You guys are doing this in disguise, as
Yeah, I
long
feel
as
like
your
the-
identity
like,
doesn't slip.
like the names are being put out there. As long as he doesn't know who did it, then it doesn't matter. He'll be like, "Hey, yo, who impersonated me that one time? That's not cool. I don't know who to shoot the gun at though."
I think it's totally worth it to get this score and to get us up on our feet.
I
But
will say
what
one
say you
thing.
guys?
I will say one thing. I know you're trying to gain some renown as yourselves, but I imagine you're also trying to gain some infamy for
The
the
specters.
specters, and this would definitely accomplish that. Like that's
what I'm
a
thinking.
bold
Yeah.
move to impersonate one of the most powerful men in the city. So it would definitely get people talking. So there's actually a give and take to it. While you're accumulating a lot more potential danger, you're with it accumulating also a lot of
Faction.
attraction. Exactly. Thank you.
All right, so let me get this straight. So, am I going with the thieves to destroy their place, or am I with all of you three?
Ptolemy's pretty tough. I don't know if you should go in there down a man, especially since I'm sure she's going to call in a lot of backup. So I don't
Lovely.
recommend it, but also I
I
don't know
agree.
how you guys operate. And quite frankly, with nothing but the best intentions, if you guys fail on your end, my thieves still get out. And that's what's important to me. Right? Either way, you'll be a distraction. Whether you guys make it out or not is another thing
Yeah.
entirely. And so I
That's
feel
not
like,
your issue.
yeah. So I feel like I wouldn't recommend you leaving down a man. But if you do, that's your business, not mine.
All right. I think I know what we got to do. So here's my plan, guys, and you guys can feel free to agree or disagree, and I want to hear it. We impersonate. What's the name again? Devore.
There.
DeVere. DeVere
Okay.
Black.
Okay. I say we impersonate Devere Black, and we all go in there together. I couldn't I couldn't do this without you, Electra, and I couldn't do it without you two. So we go in there. We're all disguised as best we can. I mean, some of us don't need to be, but obviously, Electra's going to have to look like my bodyguard, and maybe you both will have to look like my bodyguards. That's probably pretty convincing. But I say we also have Piper and her bag and the vehicle ready to go. I think our best thing is that we're going to lure them to the other side of the city. I don't think we should even attempt a fight. I think we should just pull them away.
Well,
Okay.
you'll definitely have to draw the attention of more than just Ptolemy. So I'm thinking. A fight could draw the guards, but I guess if you're talking about doing something other than a fight, what might draw the attention of the guards around the garage? Maybe. Now this is just a thought, but you only have disguise for one, right?
I'm the only one with a disguise kit. If do any
Yeah.
of you guys? Okay, so it's Piper and I.
In fact, actually,
Yeah.
Piper doesn't just have a disguise kit. She has the the tiefling
self.
racial ability to disguise self. So she'll be able to do it even better than you can.
Oh heck yeah!
The one thing I will say is, you can change your face. Your voice may not be changed, so that'll come down to talent, since none of you have any abilities to do that, right? Or actually, no, that's wrong. You have minor illusion, don't you?
Me?
No, Piper.
I have silent image too, but
Yeah, I have minor illusion.
Okay, so with minor illusion, you can definitely impersonate a voice. So actually, she can do this flawlessly. So with illusion magic.
Perfect. Yeah. So it's really how brave is Piper?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, look, I was going to do this, but now that we know that you're more perfectly geared to this, I want to give you the chance to say no.
Well, my point in actually asking, here's the interesting dynamic. So Bastion says, if you're only disguising one of you to meet with him, or maybe two, I don't know. The point is that the rest of you still need something to do, and I think maybe if you get them inside, Maybe you start sneaking around and making trouble, knocking stuff over, banging pots, whatever it is. Not all of you have to be in this meeting to make it work. However, I will say I think this might be more dangerous even than the fight, because there's a potential that you guys get caught separated. It has a higher chance of going through without any resistance, but if there is resistance, it could be bad. So maybe high risk, high reward kind of thing.
Okay, and the red gear vehicle we already have is not functional, correct? Or is it functional?
It is functional. It doesn't have a power core, and so that one vehicle would require 2 people pedaling it.
Tandem biker.
Yeah, so and then if you include like the driver and the gun, it takes 4 to man that vehicle.
Could it hide out in an alleyway though?
Yes.
If you start shooting at people, they're gonna start running. So
Well, that's my point. What if Piper's in the building and the 3 of us sneak out to this vehicle
they drive by.
and do a drive-by on this building and
Dang.
aim it exactly in the room with DeVere, or with sorry, not DeVere. Who's the other
Ptolemy.
person? Ptolemy, right? And we have a signal to give Piper to hit the deck, and we absolutely light it up and lead him on a goose chase.
So the issue
of the events being correlated.
So, I don't know if that actually accomplishes anything in particular. So, like, you could hit the place with a drive-by, but they're just gonna run with the vehicles. And in any case, that would get her inside, but it wouldn't get you guys inside. She can get the vehicle inside with her Smuggler's Arcanum, but then it would still be on her person. So, she could definitely whip it out, and you guys could drive on it. So, like, actually, if you wanted to, you could go arrange the meeting and then walk out the door of the building, and then she can conjure the vehicle and you guys can hop in it and start lighting stuff up if you wanted.
Okay,
Oh,
'cause-
doing it from the
okay.
inside.
Yeah, because she can, with her Smuggler Arcanum, she can smuggle the vehicle in totally undetected.
Awesome. Okay, so yeah, that's all that I'm suggesting. I'm saying we use a vehicle to cause chaos, and we take him to the other side of town.
Okay, so you're gonna whip out the vehicle, shoot stuff up, and drive over to the garage. Okay. I'm sorry, Bastion. Bastion says, I think that'll work, but do keep in mind that you're gonna have to make sure, once you hop in a vehicle, they're gonna run straight for their own, which means you have to head them off at the pass, and if you don't make it there before them, then you're just gonna sick them all on us. And now, I'm confident that if that happens, I can get my guys out of there, so I'm okay with that. But just know that that's gonna have to be the case.
Or don't do a drive-by. You just drive up, and then you have some people get off and stay there to fight. Keep them busy while the others get in there. And then we'll keep them busy. Maybe drive around them a little bit. But stay there so they don't need to pursue us.
Well,
Shooting at them.
the minute you whip out a vehicle, they're gonna run for their own.
Exactly.
They're just gonna try and do what they can to even the playing field. They're not
But
gonna come
here's
at
the
you with
question.
sticks.
Could I take off the gun separately, and then just have them bring that and just start shooting at them to eliminate the vehicle factor completely?
Potentially, but it wouldn't. So, this is kind of a weird interaction. But for the rules, you can store vehicles in your Arcanum as your vehicles, right? This isn't like you can just slap them in there. It takes a ritual to put them in, and then it becomes a part of your Arcanum. And so, if you were to separate the gun, it would no longer be a vehicle, and it would belong in the standard compartment. You could do it. It would take up a lot of weight in your Smuggler's Arcanum, but it's possible.
Well,
Although
that's if I take it out of the Arcanum, detach the gun itself, then put them in separately.
Yeah, so like I said, you could definitely do it. It would just have to take up space in your regular Arcanum, not in the vehicle portion of it. I don't know if it actually affects what you're talking about doing that much, because you would still have to sneak it in, right? In this scenario, we're not talking about driving a vehicle up, because that would ruin the mission. You're talking about using the Arcanum to sneak a vehicle in, and so whether the gun is mounted or not doesn't functionally make a difference whatsoever. The point is, though, that as soon as you break out artillery, they're going to run for their own artillery. So
Yeah.
if you engage them in fisticuffs, then they might be happy to fight you like that. But if you up the ante, they're gonna run for the cars. So,
Basically,
which is
the
fine.
whirlers in the hands.
Yeah, like I said, which is totally fine. If you want to up the ante, you can. You just have to make sure you block off the runway to the garage. So if you hop in the vehicle, you have to cut them off, which is totally possible. It just becomes the goal of your mission. So it's not really what we're talking about here is several plans that work. It just needs to be decided. Do you want to hop in the vehicle, or do you want to fight them hand to hand?
I mean, what if we
Right.
just drive and before we even start shooting, just drive and immediately go to cut them off before they even start, and then start shooting them?
Yeah, that's what that would be
That's
plan. That would be the plan.
yeah, that's what I was suggesting. Is
Oh,
we
okay. That's fine
yeah.
then.
then
So-
like we cut them off, stop that from happening. And I also like the fact that in that scenario, we aren't fighting. Like we are fighting, but we're not hand to hand. Do you get what I mean? I'm trying to lessen the risk to us.
Right.
Well, I will. Well, okay. Real quick, I have to say that that is an interesting interaction, because obviously, thank you for playtesting the smuggler class for me. But that's interesting that you can sneak a vehicle into these scenarios. So I'll be excited to see how that works with the balance of the class. But I just wanted to throw that out there. It was on my mind. But going back to Bastion Black, he says, well, it sounds like a plan to me. Just make sure you're fast enough. So
Okay.
I think it's going to
Sorry, go
work, though. That said, it's dinner time. And if there's nothing else to work on, I think I'm going to go.
We will
Fair
we'll bring
enough.
you a finalized plan soon, Bastion. We're gonna do some reconnaissance work ahead of time.
How good are you at reconnaissance work?
I'm one of
'Cause-
the best.
All right, I'm intrigued. I kind of planned on doing my own reconnaissance, but what are you looking for?
Well, there's a few things I'm looking for. I want to take a look at the route. I want to know the route that we're going to have to take the vehicle, and what's the best possible scenario and what's the slowest possible scenario for us. Right? We got to
Oh, okay.
ensure that we're there on time.
That actually would have been a part of this meeting. So
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't actually mention it, but he definitely would have laid a map down, and that would have been baked into the part where he asked Electra where they're driving the vehicles to. So
Okay. Well, that's the point. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I also wanted to know the positioning of the guards. That way I would know the best angle to come in to get their attention.
yeah. No, the Thieves Guild would have some of the best maps in the city, so they definitely have that information already.
Okay, awesome. And according to the slowest possible time, would we still, like, if we were making our slowest time in that vehicle, would we still be able to head off the red gears?
So that's a great question. It depends on if you can get Ptolemy in the right spot. So he assumes that you'll be meeting in the junk house, which is kind of the headquarters within the junkyard for the Red Gears. and so he assumes Ptolemy will meet you there. And so if you can draw attention in that direction, then whip out the vehicle. You should be able to outrun anybody because there is quite a distance. The trick will be getting people's attention. So whatever it is you have to do, you have to make it grandiose. You have to make a big show of it to get people to show up.
Okay.
One option is so you have a disguise kit. You could disguise yourself as a Dever's manservant, right-hand man, his accountant, doesn't matter. But someone like working for him. And then the other two of you, your disguises won't be recognized yet. So you could go in just with your disguises and you can actually show off your capabilities. So Dever is kind of a bombastic kind of fellow. So showing off that he has people with your inborn talents, the two of you, could actually be something that he would do. So if you guys wanted to just show up and make a show of your capabilities, then that would definitely count. Like, you could all four go to this meeting feasibly.
Like without disguises?
Yeah,
Wow.
in the future, this play might not work because Electra's alter ego, her disguise, and Haven's disguise will be known, but at this point, they're unknown factors. So you would just look like people who accompany Dever Black.
Oh, also I can use minor illusion for the distraction. Loud noise. Well,
That is true. That is
Yeah.
true. But to do that, you'd have to break
sound
away
illusion.
and actually, you'd have to break away and get to areas where you could make those noises that would attract people from the garage. So, if you can find a chance to slip away during the meeting, that's definitely doable.
gotta go potty.
Wait, then, that'd be crazy. What if we both disguised as Dever and then did a switch out, fake out, so that you could go cause those minor illusions?
Okay. My suggestion then would be that initially Piper does the talking, because with her minor illusion, she can fake the voice much better. Then you do the swap after she recommends that, like, her boy will be able to talk to you about price or whatever. And then either Electra or Haven can handle, probably Haven. Haven has a high charisma score. So in that case, you change and you say, hey, yeah, my boy here, Jake, will finalize the deal with you. And then he steps out. And then you swap, and you don't say anything.
You know what he even sounds like if she only.
Bastion's able to do a pretty good impression for you, along with helping you with what he looks like.
Finalize the deal. What does that mean? So I just go up and say, just talk about the final logistics.
I have no idea. Presumably Ptolemy would be meeting with Dever to make some kind of deal with the black market. And
Yeah.
so, presumably, you are faking some kind of deal.
Yeah.
Do we know
I've
what
got
kind of-
one more question.
Yes.
So, look, if he's more of a bombastic fellow, right? So you're saying he would bring, people who might seem a little off to this meeting, correct?
Not people who seem off. The thing is that Electra is an alloy. Or is an alloyed, and Haven is an adamantine soul. So it's not that they're weird. He would bring them for the prestige. Look at these powerful bloodline, the people who work for me. It's a power play thing, and so
see.
he would show off how powerful his henchmen are to show his
Okay.
own strength.
But here's the question: if they were to show up still with their masks, do you think we could bluff it? where we're just being like, yeah, I look, they work for me. I want to keep their identities a secret because I have many, but these are important to me, and to still have their identities be unknown.
Yes. Yeah. No. It would definitely. He works for the black market, so it would definitely make sense that certain people wouldn't want their identities known.
Perfect. So that's all that I'm suggesting to add to this, is that instead of just showing their faces, because then your guys' cover is blown, and we can never use you again.
I wasn't suggesting showing their faces. I was suggesting that they could show up in disguise, and those disguises would be unknowns, right? Because you have identities as specters, but the specters are still an unknown. So if you show up in masks, those masks wouldn't mean anything. But if you tried to pull this in the future, right, people would be like, okay, but why is one of the specters accompanying Devere Black?
Okay, right. But exactly. However, that's what I'm almost suggesting, is that if they wear the Spectre's mask, this is part of the infamy building.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, would not be known yet, but after this, they would be.
Yes, and that's exactly what I'm recommending.
Okay, cool. So you and I are on the same page. Just wanted to make sure.
Yes. Okay, so then in that case, we're not going for the switcheroo. Piper is impersonating Devere. The rest of you are showing up as specters to make sure that they see your secret identities, or not your secret identity, your
alter ego.
Yeah, your alter ego, your specter disguises. Okay, that'll work. And then yeah.
One question.
Yes.
I know this is kind of insane, and so you guys can all say just heck no. What if we used this opportunity to potentially assassinate said person?
Ptolemy?
Yeah.
I don't know that it'll be that easy.
It's never that easy.
Yeah, I would say if your intent is to kill her, then you should actually just go for the fight plan rather than the mayhem plan.
Okay.
But it's definitely in the cards. You could do it. But in either case, I don't think it changes the plan.
Yeah,
so in between this session and the next, make sure you reach out to the other players and discuss with them as to whether or not that's how you guys want to play it. For now, as you leave the Thieves Guild, you leave behind the palace, and Braz says, well, it's good to see that not everything has changed. It seems like the old guard, like Quintus, has kept the torch burning bright. It's good to see Bastion, so dedicated, as young as he is. That's good, Aurelius. It means when you claim the throne, your thieves' apparatus, it will be functioning. Make sure you continue to foster the Thieves Guild. It was the most important part of my father's reign, my reign. And I think if I had used them better, I could have even prevented what happened. I don't know who it was that night, but with good thieves I could have.
I swear it, Braz. I'll protect the Thieves Guild. And I'll restore the house.
That's my boy.